Hey everybody, it's day 19 of 31 and 31, and tonight I am watching Infestation. Infestation's a weird movie. It's a horror comedy, but it's a little light on the comedy and a little light on the horror, so I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think they also listed it under action, and it's definitely a little more action than anything else. So what is the movie about? Maybe it's not so light on the horror, but it's like medium on the horror. Infestation is basically about a guy that's kind of a loser and a slacker, and he's going into work and he's about to be fired because he's a loser and a slacker. And he, all of a sudden, while he's talking to the boss and she's about to fire him, there's this loud sound that basically incapacitates everybody. And when he wakes up, he's covered in this webbing like he's in a cocoon, and there's giant bugs feeding on his face. And then all of a sudden he wakes up, he fights the bug, and he realizes he's woken up in a world where the bugs have overrun everything. And he's basically trying to survive with a ragtag group of other survivors. And it's got a very kind of crazy beginning. And this is a common thing that I'm noticing with all of these films. And I know I've talked about it before, and I'm going to talk about it again. But it's like the first act for a lot of these films are really like crazy interesting, and then it gets into the second act and it slows down so much. Why can't you? I guess this is the problem with me watching the Hatchet films for the month of October, is that everything is so fast paced in those movies, and yeah, there's sometimes just a little bit of a slog, but it's usually in the first act. And when the second act happens, it's like absolute chaos all the way to the end of the movie. And it's hard with all of these movies because they're all kind of like, good beginnings, and then all of a sudden it gets so slow in the middle that you're just kind of like, I really don't want to watch this anymore. But then this one luckily picks up in the third act and actually ends pretty good. It even ends on a cliffhanger. That's kind of a spoiler, but not really, because I don't really want to talk much spoilers in this movie, because I think if you have a chance to see this one, it's on IMDb TV right now. I think you should check it out. It's not that bad. It's it's worth a good watch if you decide that, hey, there's a movie that I want to watch within all of these 31 and 31s that you've been, looking at. This is probably a film I think that you'd probably enjoy. It's weird because, yesterday's movie was The Sand, and it had some of the worst CGI that I've seen in a movie that came out in 2015. Everything is cheap as all hell. And then you have this movie that came out in 2009. That's 6 years earlier, I can do math, than The Sand. And everything looks great. And there is a good mixture of practical effects mixed with CGI when it comes to some of the bugs. But the bugs look much better than the stupid tentacles that you see in The Sand. It's crazy. And it's funny because some people have like fan theories about this movie, that this movie is actually the precursor to Starship Troopers. And I can see it with the bugs and everything like that, but I think it's kind of out of that realm. It's not necessarily there. But it's still entertaining. You have a good lead character, good actor playing him. Ray Weiss decides to show up at one point in the movie, and he's probably the scene stealer for most of the time that he's on the screen. And just in general, I think that you'll have quite a bit of fun with it. Some of the stuff made me laugh out loud, and then some of the comedy just totally missed. I would say that there is some horror there when the bugs attack and they're trying to evade, and they realize things about the bugs, and that's how they can get from point A to point B. It's just a movie that I think it's got a pretty good runtime. It's pretty fun. So I definitely would give this 3 out of 5 human-insect hybrids. It definitely is worth your time if you want to spend some time with this movie. So thank you guys very much for watching. Don't forget to check out the latest episode of the podcast this coming weekend, the week that this is being recorded. There will be a Victor Crowley podcast to end the Victor Crowley Ween of podcasts. And, but there's still going to be more of these 31 and 31 videos coming out. So make sure you check them all out. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you later.